Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I have a lovely guest with me today. We have Xylee on here. Both Xylee and I have held a live stream of our own talking about the Shanny for Christ situation. And we kind of talked in DMs and we both wanted to address her situation a little bit more. We have differing perspectives. So I posed for us to chat about it openly with you guys. So that's what we're going to do today. And yeah, Xylee, do you want to introduce yourself and put your stuff in the chat, or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I can put the stuff in the chat. Just 1 second. I was tweeting out the live. Hey, it's me, Xylee. My channel is Xylee Gets Real. Let me get them in here. I'll get the link, etc., etc. Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna have to use that link. Oh wait, now I have to go to your stream. Lord, I am just all over the place. Hello.
If you can't get it, I can get it.
No, I got it. It's here. I got it. There we go. And boom. There we go. I gave you the long link. I don't know if I can link it.
Let me.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, yeah, I did a live. Oh my God, let me cut on my light. What is going on? I did a live on Shanny for Christ, and that was funny, especially towards the end when she showed up in the chat.
Did we ever figure out if that was actually her, or was that somebody just trolling?
Well, from what some people who have been watching her and like reporting her for like years now, they said that was actually her.
It wouldn't surprise me. I kind of thought that when she came in, and even when you allowed her in on the Discord, I thought it was her trolling you. I really did. And I had, prior to your stream, I had gone down the rabbit hole. Since then, I've gone completely down the rabbit hole. And I've watched probably everybody at this point who's covered her for any long period of time to kind of figure out what started when and how all of this has come to be. And it shows of her behavior to do stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And the fact of she wasn't going to be able to be on camera, because that's the main thing with her. She wants to be able to be on camera. Mm-hmm. Well, on my stream, she wasn't going to be on camera. I'm like, listen, you can jump in the voice, but I'm not you're not showing your juicy bits to me like you did to RSN. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I think that was a good call in your behalf, but that's probably why you got trolled a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, some people who's been watching her said that they really believe it was her. And then she's back apparently.
So I've heard that she's back, but I have not been able to actually find that she's back. Have you?
Well, she went on Instagram, did a live, and then she's talking about she has a Twitch account. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, honey, you're not going to last on Twitch very long. But so she might go live on Twitch. Don't know yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to run back up the chat and say hi to everybody who's here, and then we can start going in. There's a few things that I didn't cover in my live stream that I kind of want to talk about.
Okay.
After going back, it's just things that slip whenever you're live. But I want to say hi to everybody who's here. Hey, Rockosaurus Rex. Hey, Jewel. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Aine. Hey, Sue. Maria Rose. Melissa. Truffle. Diane. Sweet and Sassy. Sarah Loves Donuts. GTA and Opinions. Beauty Demon. Beauty Demon did an amazing video on the Creepshow art stuff. If you haven't seen that, please, and you're kind of wanting a rundown, she did a really good job. Hey, Diane. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Jean. Hey, Blue. Hey, Jenna, Sweet Tea. You thought YouTuber was Yeah, YouTube lets anyone online. Hey, Michelle Lynn. Hey, Christophan. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Jen. Hey, Blue. Yeah, anybody who wants to have a YouTube account can. It's just a matter of... It's, to me, becoming a YouTuber, and Xylee, you can give your 2 cents too, is it's really a luck of the draw. Some of it comes down to your personality. Some of it comes down to your content. But as far as like you hitting the algorithm, it's like a luck of the draw.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those things that I've seen really, really good channels not make it big is because they do what they feel in their heart. Sometimes if you want to make it big, if you want to make any money, sometimes you got to chase the stories. I hate to say it, but it's true. You got to hit that algorithm. And it sometimes with videos, it depends on what time of the day that you upload it for it to hit the algorithm. So
Yeah. I've noticed that over the past year. I've played around with when I upload videos and they perform better at certain times. But I'm not somebody who's going to chase a story. I know I get what you're saying and I think you're right. But for some of us, we're not going to sell out for the monetary aspect of it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking to make this a career and like make it real quick, real fast, you kind of have to sell a little bit of your morality to get there. And I'm not going to do that. No shame to people who do. Absolutely no shame to anyone who does. That's just not my gig.
Absolutely. It's like when I did the Shanny one, or like when I did the Onision in real life one, that one did 1.8K, but I think my next one after that was about Elf Cosmetics and Ofra Cosmetics, like their statements they made. And I only have like maybe 600 views on that one, but it's one that was important to me and I really wanted to do it. So it's hit or miss, honestly. Sometimes, like I haven't, perfect example, I haven't done not one Gabby Hanna video so far. Now, I might do one now because of that phone call situation. But I've never done a Gabby Hanna because it's boring to me. Okay, Gabby's having a fit. I even said it last night in my live. Gabby's having a fit. Okay. But then when I got to Twitter and I saw what it was, I was like, oh. Because this story not only involves Gabby, but it also involves Jesse Smiles. And if you want to get technical, it involves Keemstar too from the past. So
I'm in the same boat. I thought there for a little while that I was going to do, because I've been around for the Gabby Hanna stuff, but I never followed it closely enough to really know the ins and outs. And there for a while, I was going to go down that rabbit hole and do like a whole synopsis video and give my opinion, but I ended up not doing it. However, now that those voice notes are out, I probably will make some kind of video at some point.
Yeah.
So someone did mention that consistency. Melanie mentioned consistency. Yeah, consistency plays a huge part into getting into the algorithm and staying in the algorithm. There's so many kinds of factors to get growing a channel. There really is. But I want to go ahead and get on to topic so we're not just rambling about nothing for however long, because I have a tendency to do that. The Shanny for Cry situation. There's a couple of key players involved. If you haven't or you are not aware of her and what's all been going down, she has had her own channel for years. She's been engaging in problematic behavior for years. People have always seemed to touched on the fact that her children were involved and that they were concerned for the children. However, in the most recent concern where her channel was taken, has to do with how her and her boyfriend, but they refer to him as a husband. They're not legally married from everything I have seen. He has a channel of his own called Revelation News. He's often gone by Rev. His real name is Jason. And Shanny's real name is Shannon, I believe. Is that right, Xylee?
I think so, yeah.
So I will, for the remainder of this live stream, I will refer to her as her YouTube and him as Rev, because that's kind of how everybody talks about the two of them. Ultimately, there's been some stuff that they have decided to share with the world in regards to how they behave and how they talk to the children. My main concern is the kids. And I understand there's other factors involved when it comes to like her mental health and maybe substance abuse and him being alleged recovering alcoholic. It all fits my previous profession's wheelhouse, and I've shared some of my opinions, but there were some things that I totally missed out on discussing that are pretty large factors when it comes to the kids. I guess I'll ask you, Xylee, when you have done your research, have you come across the live streams that people have showed where Rev is threatening their lives.
Oh, when they were in the one that when they were in the car. Because I didn't see the one where he was actually like, well, he was threatening the kid in the car. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't hear the threatening. Like, did he say I would kill you? Did he really say that?
It wasn't in the one with the car. It was in a previous live stream. He was saying that he was going to off them, and actually held his fingers to Shanny's head.
Yep, I heard. I didn't see the video, but I heard about it. And I don't know if I heard about it through a sub in the chat or if I read about it. But he basically said, I will kill us all, basically, is what he said. Yeah, he's crazy. Oh, and by the way, his channel's gone now.
I'm not surprised his channel's gone, because even in my video, the live stream I did on Friday, I said we all know she was ban-evading, and I said, I guarantee she's going to use his channel, and that's exactly what she did. And I said, if she did that, his channel was also going to get taken. So I'm not surprised.
Well, him saying the N-word like 20 times, N-word hard R, well, it wouldn't matter with him, but N-word hard R at least, I don't know, I would say like 20 times in a like a less than a minute span. That's probably what did it.
Both of them have the history of that. If you're unaware, Shanny also, there's a ton of clips, and when I load this up afterwards, I will try to link some of the other channels that cover her regularly. She also has a history of saying these terms and then not apologizing for saying them. Instead, she defends the fact that she said them when there's really no basis for it. It shows that they really are people who are probably racist.
Oh no, most definitely. The little bit that Shane Dawson put in his documercial, that little bit when they were showing in the jumpsuit, a couple of seconds later, you heard the racism. That's why people were so mad with Shane, because we're like, Shane, there's no way, because you had to edit that. There's no way you didn't see that, because not even a full minute later, it was like a couple of seconds later, they went into like a racist tirade. So yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Nobody's dumb.
Yeah, Red said he couldn't take it anymore and then threatened the kids. I mean, under no circumstance, from my professional experience, threatening your family and your kids like that, it is mental abuse. It's verbally abusive, especially when you have a child in that home that is special needs. I don't know the extent of his needs. No child should ever be told that they're not worthy of life. But to compound it with that is even further concerning. Also, in one of the more recent streams I watched of them over the last week, I guess Shanny disclosed that CPS was waiting for them where they're at. And she said that the case was closed. I can promise you the case is not closed. Not because I'm talking to anybody, not because I've called anywhere, but because of my professional experience. A case does not close the day someone goes out there. Different states have different statutes of limitations and how long cases can be open. However, with all of the concerns surrounding that family, there is no way that the case would close within a day. Also, there is concerns for me on how, depending on how that state operates, are where my concerns lie. Because some states won't take into account the previous home's condition because they are no longer in that home. I don't know if that's how Pennsylvania operates, because it is telling of the neglect to see the home conditions. But if those boys who are teenagers or close to teenagers at this point, if they were urinating in their room there, they're going to be urinating other places than toilets now. And that should be a big enough of a red flag for them to really deep dive and look at the previous conditions.
I just want the kids. I'm sorry, these kids just don't need to be with her. It's not, it's multiple factors. One, we saw the house. Oh my God. Or a townhouse. It was technically a townhouse. We saw that. You see how she is on stream. She says half that crap in front of her kids. She is very problematic. And I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not. There's just something wrong. The kids, I feel like the kids are in danger. I really do. And I don't know how to say that without saying like, I'm not diagnosing her because I don't know. I know she has said she has BPD, but I don't know. Only thing I know is you can't tell me those kids aren't traumatized and they need to be out.
I would agree with you. And I have said in my other live stream when I talked about it is it's not that hard to articulate how these children are being affected by the behaviors you see. And for most CPS workers, all you have to do is be able to articulate the danger and how it is having a negative impact on those kids. The fact that these are 12, 13, 14-year-old boys and they're peeing in their bed and they're peeing on their floor and their toilet was in the condition it was, you can have the argument that the kids are old enough they can clean up after themselves. You can have that argument to a degree, but to the fact that the house was in the conditions, they were already displaying behaviors of not using the toilet and or at least going outside. They're boys, right? That is easily articulated how the home conditions are affecting the kids to the point that they're not using the bathroom. They're not cleaning up after themselves. It falls almost on the mother. And at points, she has tried to deflect and say that the boys are gross and they don't know how to clean up after themselves. You have to take responsibility of that as a parent. Why do these boys not know how to clean up after themselves? Why do they not know basic hygiene? We can tell from her hygiene, and I'm not trying to be rude, but from what we see visually of her, she doesn't seem to have the best hygiene care herself. So there is something going on, whether it is a mental health factor or something else. You can have mental health, you can have mental health and substances, and your children still not be aware that these things are happening. It does happen. Believe it or not, it does happen where parents can have mental health. They can be abusing substances and the children be unaware because the parents still have protective capacities. What we see with these two individuals is zero protective capacities. At what point can we articulate that she is sheltering those children? I have seen a clip at some point where she has coerced her children to get on camera when they said, I don't want it filmed. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want it filmed. And she's sitting there back and forthing with her child as if it was an argument between two teenagers.
Because she has she acts like she has the mentality of teenagers. And quite honestly, how are those boys going to learn how to clean anyway? Her bathroom was the worst one. Yeah. Her toilet was the worst one. She had a coffee maker in her bathroom. She had open food containers in her bathroom. How are they going to learn how to clean when their own damn mother and their stepdad, whatever the hell he don't even clean? And you can't tell me she just started not cleaning. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me that. They're either picking up habits from her or they're so damn traumatized that they don't. I mean, come on, they're peeing in their own room. You know,
any child who is of the age to be potty trained that isn't actively engaging in potty training behavior is almost always a cry for abuse or neglect. So it's super concerning when we saw their room. The condition of the house was absolutely disgusting. It's not the worst I've seen. I've seen way worse. But it was bad.
I couldn't imagine seeing worse than that. I couldn't. And I feel for anybody who's ever seen worse than that because I couldn't. No.
Yeah. No. CJ says Shanny's lost the kids before, and I've talked about that. I haven't been able to find what the grounds were for her to have lost custody before.
I don't know.
But I know she has because her mom openly talked about it in an interview that she had lost custody and family came in and cared for those kids. So I hope the same thing happens. I hope any family who steps in, because nobody wants the children to go into care. Nobody does. I don't. I was a child of the system for 10 years. I don't want that for anybody. But at some point, we have to understand that foster care is going to be better than what they are currently being given. And that's the sad reality. And that's when we really have to take a step back. She threatened self-harm. That's why they were taken. I mean, I'm not surprised.
I don't know. It's just it was the house was disgusting, and that last live stream she did on YouTube, where she literally argued with her child and forced her child to say that she wasn't a bad mother and she doesn't treat him bad, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And you can hear it in the kid's voice that it's like, no, it's a lot. And you can hear in his voice that he's just trying to make her happy by saying that.
That's absolutely, that's coaching behavior.
Yeah.
And I know that's it's absolutely concerning that a parent's going to openly coach their child on a live stream. Mm-hmm. My hope would be, since allegedly CPS is involved, that they do. I hope their protocol is to interview the children away from the parents. That's what it was in Florida. You always try to interview the children isolated from the parents, so they're not coerced or they're not under pressure, or feel that if they actually say what's going on, that it's going to be held against them. So I hope that they have those kinds of protocols. That way the children will maybe start to tell them stuff. Who knows? Because the children are at an age where they can articulate. So it's a double-edged sword if they disclose things or not.
One of them already threatened to harm themselves.
I've heard that too, and the fact that I've seen parts of the live stream around that where she was taking him to the facility, and she is openly streaming and blaming it on people on the internet. And no, ma'am. The reason those kids know what's going on the internet is because I'm sorry if I piss anybody off, she's a terrible parent. This is the only time I've ever said somebody's a bad parent. But from what I have seen, she is showing nothing but poor parenting skills, poor coping mechanisms for herself. And she's putting it onto these kids. And it's absolutely disgusting that she thought in a moment when her child probably needed her the most that she should hop online and blame it on them while the child is sitting there. How is that at all going to help the child or the situation?
To me, she's not mentally stable to have a child around her. I'm sorry. She's not. She doesn't even need the animals, let alone the children. I mean, it's just no. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I would have strong words with anybody who said she was a good parent from not from what she shows from her streams. I'm sorry. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I've always kind of played on the devil's advocate part of, we only see what creators allow us to see with like family blogging and stuff like that. But this woman, when she is on her live streams behaving in this manner, her and her boyfriend, it is very clear that is how they behave. They are not holding anything back. They're not acting for their channel. It makes me wonder how bad it is when the camera's not off, because I do think part of her is coherent enough to understand that who knows who could see this. Thousands of people are watching it at a time. So she is going to hold back her disgusting parenting skills to a degree. So what is it like when the camera is not on? How much is she neglecting them when they are not on camera?
That's what scares me the most. And at first, when they started taking her YouTube down, I'm like, guys, is this actually a good thing? Because think about it, okay? I understand her not making money on YouTube, but what if that pushes her to another level towards those kids?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I can understand that.
And at first, that's what I was scared about. But come to find out, there are people that are, I guess, in contact with her and they know what's going on. I'm like, okay, that makes me feel better. Because if she acts like this in front of a camera, how does she act when she's not on the camera? And that's what's scary, because she is literally actively getting deplatformed from everything. And if she loses everything, how is she going to be with those kids? That's what scares me the most. Right now, it's verbal and mental abuse. Will it become physical?
And who's to say it hasn't, though?
Exactly.
Like, for it to be to the extreme that it is, I mean, we don't really see them very often. If anything, we hear them. So we don't know if there are any visual marks or bruises. We also don't know, like, who's going to openly say that they slapped their kid or something like that. Nobody is going to openly admit to that, especially online.
Right.
You know, so it's a crazy situation. It's so mind-boggling that this has been going on for as long as it has. And I commend the channels that have rode this out to the point that we're at. This is one of those times when I think YouTube can do good things. And this is times, like, people are going to hate that I'm going to say this, but this is times when things do need to go real life. This is times when I say, if you see a concern, to call it in, because of situations like this. You never know. You never know. And she is openly putting this out on the internet. And like your concern and my concern, I'm sure plenty of people in the concern, other people in the chat's concern is, if we're seeing this, how bad is it when the camera's off?
Yeah.
It's I promise you it's not better. I promise you it's not better.
Yep. Because if they can act like that in front of a camera, they're going to be worse not in front of the camera.
Yeah,
because what Shanny thinks in her mind is okay for what she shows you in front of that camera. And if she thinks that's okay, I mean, you had a blood splatter on the wall of that. I mean, really? And that was apparently from a fight her and Rev had where she punched him in the nose or something like that. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I see some people, allegedly people who have been involved and been following the story, the appropriate authorities are already involved, and they have indicated to not continue to call in because it's dying down the efforts of those agencies, which I can contest to a degree, continually getting bogged down with incoming calls, especially from a CPS standpoint. Every time a call comes in, you have to, if there's any new part to the allegation, you're pretty much starting your investigation back over from the start. I don't know if that's how Pennsylvania operates. That's how Florida does. So it can bog down to continue to call. And I do believe there are appropriate people involved. Even Shanny has said that they have been involved. Why she is saying that the case is closed is probably just her trying to get people to back off and stop accusing her of being a bad parent.
Wait, she's in Pennsylvania now?
Isn't that where they went?
I don't know where they went now. I know they were in Colorado.
Yeah, so the story goes, they were in Colorado. That's the house that we have seen that they got evicted from. And then they went to Pennsylvania. It's a P state. I think it's Pennsylvania, where Rev has family, and that's the house they're currently staying in.
So that's probably the reason why she thinks it's closed, because they have left the state. That's probably why. She said that when Shanny, I heard a voice clip of Shanny talking to, I think it was Real Stream News. She said that they were waiting for her in Pennsylvania. Thank you, CJ, for clarifying. Yeah, so they were, which, I mean, I don't think anybody is surprised about. And maybe Colorado had a case and it closed. I am really curious as to, and it's none of my business, it's just out of curiosity because I know how the system can operate from a professional standpoint. I'm curious if Colorado CPS was involved and how that went, because I think, in my personal and professional opinion, Colorado kind of dropped the ball, because it's openly known that they didn't open the door for CPS in Colorado. And I've said in my previous live stream, in Florida, CPS has the ability to get a judge to sign a court order to get entry into a home without consent, just like we have the ability to get a judge to sign a court order to interview kids away from the parents if the parents are refusing that to happen. So I don't know if Colorado is behind in their
states in their statutes and having them to have the ability to do stuff like that. Florida also has an order to take into custody. I talked about this briefly when I worked in Florida. There was a situation where we could prove that abuse and neglect happened in our state and in our county where the report was. There was enough evidence and information to support that. The family had actually fled. I'm not going to say where just for confidentiality reasons, but the family had fled out of the state, and we went to the state with an order to take into custody and brought those children into custody.
Oh, wow.
So I have questions about how the CPS operated that, and if they were called after the fact, or what the scenario was with that, or if they figured it was Pennsylvania's problem since they were going there and they just forwarded the case over to Pennsylvania. I really want to know like how that operates, just for my professional curiosity.
I think it's bad enough that the kids are around their mother, but I mean, I think they're both a danger. Don't get me wrong. I think they're both a danger to the kids, absolutely. But I think physically, I think Rev is the more dangerous one, only because of what he says.
I think, and personally, like for me, I can see where you're coming to that conclusion, but it makes me think of whenever Shanny was arrested for domestic violence on him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And he didn't fight back. So I think he's more talk and like verbal than to actually act it out. But if you're comfortable enough to continue to verbally say things and you're under the influence of whether it be alcohol or weed or whatever drug may be involved, it's going to heighten those emotions, and you may actually act out in a way that you typically wouldn't because it alters your mind.
And that's why I think, honestly, 100% it's not just weed involved, because the way they act is not weed. Weed does not make you angry. Weed does not make you violent. There's something else involved. I honestly believe in my heart, and I can't prove it. Obviously, I'm not there. So this is allegedly for entertainment purposes only. I think something else is involved with it. I really do.
Their behaviors definitely can allude to there probably being something else involved. The only thing that makes me hesitant towards that is the fact that we have mental health.
Well,
because mental health does,
issues.
Whether it's the BPD she says she's diagnosed with, or if it's something else, or if she is someone who has multiple diagnoses, it's going to play a huge factor. And even something as light as weed, depending on their mindset, can alter how you think. And alcohol is one of the worst things to get on when you have mental health and you are unmanaged and you don't know how to even cope with it, which in my opinion, no matter what kind of mental health she or Rev have, it's clearly going unmedicated, and it's clearly to a point that they don't know how to manage whatever mental health diagnosis they have. Yeah. And it's exacerbating everything. And then you take all of that and you combine it with alcohol, a depressant, it's only going to make things much worse.
No, you're absolutely right, because my situation that me and you personally have talked about, that person, the only drug he did do was weed, but he had multiple mental diagnosis, and he was taking a plethora of meds that they gave him. So no, you actually make a very good point with that, to be honest.
I mean, and that's just my, and I know people are not going to be a fan of that because, and I understand why weed's getting legalized and how it can be used medicinally, but even for mental health, but you have to understand, those are people who are under the guise of your doctor, or you've talked to a therapist or a counselor, you know what triggers you, you know how to slightly cope with it. And that just may be an additive factor.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that weed cannot be used for mental health in a positive way, but when it's unmanaged and people don't even, it doesn't seem to be that they fully are aware of the mental health diagnosis going on, it can affect it. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but that's that's my profession speaking more than like my personal stance on it.
Well, and mine on that is that's actually personally because of things that happened to me and what I was in for a long time in my life. And it's, how do I put this? When you're talking about weed with a, how do I put this? With a person with not a plethora of mental issues, that's one thing. But when they have a plethora of mental issues, like with my situation and probably with Shanny's situation, unfortunately, the weed does not help them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That anger is still there. The wherever else they do, it's still there. It does not help them. Whereas a person who, it helps different situations, but it doesn't help everything. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And what further brings, and this is going to be a controversial topic, so if you don't want to comment on it, I understand. My other concern is due to the lack of parenting that's there. I do not think it's appropriate for those children to be around them actively being under the influence. I don't care of what it is. I'm not saying, parents who have a few beers in front of their kids is a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're getting to the point that you are intoxicated and you already can't care for them, to see you further under the influence or under intoxication of any kind is not healthy for children, especially when you have a child with needs who probably already has difficulty understanding right and wrong. It's just not a good idea. And it further makes me wonder if these children are going to start experimenting due to that, or if the parents, and this is me tin hatting, and I totally understand that if people get mad at me for this, but I can't help but wonder if these parents are bad enough to where they may coax these kids into trying some of these things just for their comedic relief.
I think in this case, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's not like mom and dad throwing a barbecue type of situation. To be honest, the kids are in danger whether they're doing the substances or not. I mean, for real, I think the kids are in danger whether the substances are there or not, to be honest.
Oh, they absolutely are.
Yeah.
It's just a compounding factor.
Yeah. No, I agree. And supposedly Rev stopped drinking, but they found beer in the small refrigerator. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that are going on that the substances really is the minimal issue. Until we see Shanny actually getting help in managing whatever mental health she has, I am not comfortable saying that she may not be a good parent, because I have worked on that side where I have seen people who are in the depths of their mental health and whatever else is causing them to behave certain ways. And then with appropriate resources in classes and teaching, they can actually redeem themselves to a degree to where they can be a decent parent. For her, since we've seen this happen for so many years and we've never seen her get help, I don't know if she ever will get to that point. I hope she does. I hope anybody who is struggling can get to that point. But I just don't know if that's a possibility for her.
I, as not a professional, could honestly say with my heart, without a doubt, she is a horrible parent. And that's just by watching her on the internet. She sucks. And she's causing trauma to those kids and those poor babies. I just want those babies out of there. Like I told her, because we don't know for 100% fact that it was her, but just like I told her in my stream, I do not care what you have to say. I don't care what you or your man have to say. The only thing I care about is your kids first and your pets second, getting taken away from you. That's all I care about. I don't care what happens to you and Rev. I don't care. I don't care. All I care about is those kids and then the pets. That's all I care about. I don't care what happens to them. When I say that, I'm not being funny. I am being for real. I do not care what happens to them. because they have done such a disservice to those children for years. Do you realize? I think her kids are what, 12 and 14? She has been doing this since they were 2 and 4. She has been on the internet for a decade. And she has been doing this to these children for a decade. At that point, because I can't be professional about it, I do not care what happens to those two. I just want those two kids out, and I want their pets out. That's all I want. And then they can go off to La La Land and do whatever they want and have whatever consequences they have. I do not care. Honestly, I really don't.
I think a lot of people feel this. I mean, I feel the same way too. The children and the pets clearly shouldn't be in their care. She clearly cannot even take care of herself.
Nope.
So how is she going to be able to take care of these children? I mean, it makes no sense. And her behaviors that we see time and time again show that she doesn't have the ability to overcome whatever she is struggling. I absolutely agree. She shouldn't have the children in her care. I'm just saying for future, there may be a possibility, but currently what we're seeing is you got to look at patterns, and you see the history there that this is probably going to be a continual cycle. And I really hope the agencies that are involved, that we're told are involved, are doing everything in their power to make sure that they are doing what's best for those kids. Because at times, on certain cases, and this is probably one of them, you're not going to be able to take the children who can articulate their word for their word. And there are ways that agencies can go around getting the appropriate information to support a concern. And I promise you, it wouldn't just be people online. We have seen her mom over years talk out about things. Yeah, she contradicted herself, but she has also stated that there's been a concern. She's also stated some of Shanny's terrible behaviors. She has also stated some of the concerns with Rev. I mean, family members have concerns. It's all about these agencies doing their job, and hopefully that the worker isn't burnt out and doesn't get to a point where they don't know what to do and has decent supervisors to help them. Because clearly, if people online, both with a degree and in the profession and people not in the profession, can articulate the concerns that they can see, how can a professional not sit there and articulate that to a judge? I don't even know this family, and from what I've seen, I could easily stand in front of a judge and articulate the concerns.
It's funny. You see a lot of people saying, CPS failed them, CPS. And the sad thing is, and I kept saying this in my life. Yes, I would say CPS failed them, but it's not like that. I think the whole system is a failure because there's not enough funding. There's not enough work. You have some counties or some whatever that these people have more kids than one person could handle to personally be able to look over. You know what I'm saying? They have, like we saw in the Gabriel Fernandez. Fernandez. Yeah, we saw it with him. These people had stacks and stacks and stacks of kids. They're supposed to go see the child every certain amount of time, but they can't get to them because they haven't even gone through their whole rounds of kids yet because they have so many. There's not enough funding. This is a whole system breakdown, and we're literally watching a whole system breakdown in a live. Honestly, we're watching it live. And it's sad.
I mean, and really what that boils down to is that state and how that state operates their agency when it comes to CPS. In Florida, we were limited how many cases we could have. And there were things put in place. You do have to see your children every so often. The thing with the Gabriel Fernandez case is both the worker and the supervisor blatantly ignored what that child was disclosing to them and what his body was telling them.
Right.
And the worker was new and didn't have the proper training to know that that child should have gone to what's called a CDC, which is a child advocacy center, which is typically a part of the health association within the state. And they're not a part of CPS, but they're who you go to when you have marks or bruises or SA victims. They are not the psychologists. They are the forensically trained individuals through the state, and they are the ones who typically record the interviews of the children so they don't have to continue to re-traumatize themselves and continue to disclose whatever they're going through. So in the Gabriel Fernandez case, the supervisor even disclosed how many their caseload, and it really wasn't that high. I'm not totally disagreeing with you that the systems aren't broken and that there's not corruption and that it's not underemployed and underpaid, because it absolutely is.
I just see a lot of people stressed out. I mean, we can go all the way to the education system. They're the same way. They're underpaid like mofos. They get paid below the poverty line, some of them, on what they make yearly. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm not going on that tangent. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, I get it. That's a whole other conversation when you're talking about any kind of social service. And I include teachers and first responders and things like that into those fields. You could go on and on about the politics and the lack of funding and the lack of support in all of those areas, because it is evident. And I'm just speaking from my professional experience, which is different because it's going to be different from state to state, from county to county. Even in Florida, counties next to us operated very differently than how our county did. There were different expectations. Statutes remain the same, which is like your case number, how often you have to see your kids, your response times, and things like that. But other than that, it's all up to your administrator of that county. And some states their CPS operate strictly by the county. It's not, the state isn't even involved in their agency at all.
Right. But okay. No, I was just saying something real quick. But yeah, I just want those babies out the house. My main concern are those babies. And I think the age, somebody asked the age, I think the ages are 12 and 14. I believe the ages are 12 and 14.
They're around that age. I know the child with needs is 12. I've seen that child talked about extensively with people having concerns about clearly what I think most of us have concerns about. You have a child with special needs who is in a neglectful environment and an even abusive environment when you take into account the verbal abuse that is occurring. And it is absolutely going to have a long-lasting effect on both of these kids. There's no way that everything that they're experiencing and that we're seeing unfold is not going to have some kind of negative impact on them, whether it's how they interact with people moving forward, them trusting people, their own personal hygienes. We're already seeing that being a concern. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I would love to be in Minecraft with Shanny and Rev. That's all I'm going to say. I would love to be in Minecraft with them because it's so disgusting how they're treating their kids. I'm sorry. It's just disgusting. And I can't, the crap they do in a live stream, I can only imagine what they do when they're not live. And that's what scares me the most. That's what absolutely scares me the most. So
that's a huge concern that I have. And I think a lot of people have that concern. When you have children and pets and elderly, they're innocent. You know, they rely on their caregiver, their parent, their custodian. They rely on somebody to make sure that their needs are met. And we are clearly seeing here that these kids' needs their very basic needs are not being met. Aside from shelter, they have shelter, but there's been conversations around her withholding food from them or being weird about what kind of food they get. Like, that is highly manipulative and highly damaging to anyone, even to an adult.
That's so gross. Like, why would you do that? It's just gross. It's like it. This subject honestly makes me so angry. Like, I don't know if she was standing in front of me, if I could control my anger or not. It makes me so angry because I just see two innocent little souls that are just being abused. It's abusive.
Yeah.
It's completely abusive, and it's so damning.
Well, and what's interesting is her rebuttal is always the internet trolls. The internet trolls do this. The internet trolls do that. I'm sorry. It's not the internet trolls that are causing your grown boys to pee in their room. Yeah. It's not the internet trolls dictating what they can eat. It's not the internet trolls allowing your boyfriend to sit in front of you and threaten your kids. It's not the internet trolls doing all of this. It is you. What is your explanation for this? Because I've had conversations with parents about shit like this, and the way that they think is, especially when you have mental health involved, is so distorted. There is no way that these children are safe in her care until things are rectified. And I honestly don't know if things can be rectified for Shanny and Rev, just based off of what we see and their pattern and their history and what I have watched other creators talk about. Everything we're seeing right now has happened before. The eviction stuff has happened before.
For me, there's nothing redeeming about them. And when I say I do not care what happens to them, I don't. I only care about the kids and the animals. That's the only two sets that I care about. And once the kid and the animals are gone, I absolutely 1000% do not care what happens to them. What was the internet trolls that made you go off the damn map and into a railroad yard where you messed up the frame of your vehicle? Was the internet trolls the reason why?
No, that was their GPS, because they saw that they were driving on a gravel road in between train tracks, but because the GPS said to keep going, mine tells you just to keep going.
I mean, it's just oh my god. These people make me angry. I can't help it. They legit make me angry.
I think they make most people angry. They make people angry, and people who cannot understand, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but just really can't fathom treating pets and children like this. You have no other alternative but to get mad and but to get upset, depending on how you handle your emotions. I've had people tell me that, they've cried over this situation, and it makes sense. Like, if you've not seen stuff like this before, or worked with people like this before, or situations like this before, it's automatically going to entice some kind of strong emotion, because you just can't fathom it. You cannot understand. You cannot comprehend, especially when we see the defending behaviors that she has and the excuses, non-excuses that she has, because they really hold no value. Internet trolls are not telling you to get on your platform, no matter how big or small it is, and treat your kids like this for the world to see.
No. Internet trolls aren't telling you to do all the. Now, the sad part is some of them internet trolls, while she's live, they give her money to do stupid shit. I mean, in all honesty, they give her money because people like to see the world burn. Okay, and some of those people she was getting money for, they were trolling her and giving her money. But come on now, internet troll didn't tell you not to clean your house.
I mean, that's when you come to like people paying and shit, the only thing that ever pops into my mind is what happened with that Russian vlogger. Like, are you kidding me? You're going to literally end up taking somebody's life because you got money? Yeah. No, refund the freaking money. Yeah. Refund it. Don't just because you're getting money doesn't mean you have to do something. They're choosing to send, anytime somebody sends a super chat or a donation, you're choosing to do that. If you're doing it because the creator or whoever else, or a GoFundMe, you see that and it touches your heartstrings and you want to help for that particular cause, once that money leaves your pocket because you want to help, you've made the choice.
Right.
If you're putting stipulations on it, then that's like a business transaction. That's not like a donation at that point.
Yeah, well, come to find out, I think the guy ended up getting 2 years probation over it.
What, the Russian dude? I don't know.
Yeah, he ended up 2 years probation. I mean, just throw a pregnant woman in a Russian winter, no big deal. Nah. 2 years probation.
And no
she was
clothing.
pregnant. No clothing, you know. Oh my God. The internet makes me so angry sometimes. I can't help it. I cannot help it.
Yeah.
Something's going on in your chat, by the way.
What's going on in my chat?
I don't know. There's some fighting.
Who's fighting with who?
Looks like Aaron and Paula are fighting.
I haven't been watching the chat, clearly.
I'm just so used to veering over and looking at the chat. No, I heard he got he got 6 years in prison? Okay, good. I'm glad then. Okay. I heard it was like 2 years probation for somebody, but okay, cool. If he got 6 years in prison, I mean, he deserves more than 6 years, but you know. Okay. All right, well, cool. Well, thank you for telling me that, because I was kind of really ticked off about the 2 years probation.
I mean, really, and that goes into a whole nother argument when you start talking about people's sentences and if they really equate the crime that was committed.
Have you?
You see what that is.
What the hell?
Okay, so he got
getting rid of that.
I hit him.
Okay. Oh, see, you hit the right topic, because that's when the trolls come in.
I usually don't get trolled, so it's always kind of interesting to see what they come in here and say.
I've noticed that about your channel. Your channel is actually usually pretty.
I know, that's why whenever
this is nice in here. How y'all doing?
That's why I don't know what happened in my chat. Usually everybody's pretty respectful of one another. I'll have to go back and watch. I'm sorry if anybody's feelings got hurt or somebody was being mean to someone else. Typically that doesn't happen, so yeah. I'm not super happy about it, but that's kind of my fault for not paying attention to the chat. Yeah, I've heard the trolls have been kind of going around. It is what it is. I'm not too worried about it.
You're always going to have trolls. You're always going to have trolls. You have trolls. If it's the internet, you're going to have trolls. It's just they trolls have been around since the day that you could actually talk to somebody online.
Well, and those are legitimate trolls, because everybody calls people who try to give criticism or who are calling out bad behavior, they end up being labeled a troll by whatever channel they're calling out. And I hate to tell you that that's not really trolling behavior. Trolling behavior is that coming in, trying to dismantle, be rude, saying things that are awful. That's a real troll. Yeah. That is a real troll.
Exactly. I laugh when people take a situation that's not really a troll, and I'm like, that's not a troll though. If you consider that a troll, you would die playing like COD or playing some kind of video game then, because they actually do it in voice. It's not typed. So I mean, you would die at that point if you think that that's trolling. It's ridiculous. People are ridiculous.
This is the most it's ever happened to my channel. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is. That's kind of crazy. Not gonna lie.
Geez, Xylee, did you bring them?
The trolls followed me. Hi, trolls. I love you. Thank you for stopping by. Please like and subscribe.
Their butt. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I think we're just about wrapped up. There's the thing with the Xylee situation, not Xylee. The thing, with you.
Okay, I have to say this. My trolls don't do this. I usually have respectful trolls.
Yeah,
okay?
I know.
I don't have trolls like this.
I know.
It's the same that attacked Aaron the other night.
Yeah, somebody said she got botted to the point it crashed her stream.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. The thing with this Shanny situation is I think it's going to be ever evolving, and people are going to continue to cover her. And she's somebody that I kind of think does need to be watched, and kind of people need to keep an eye on them, just because we never know. We're never going to know unless someone has the time to keep up with her. And, you know, it's one of those times when people always get onto channels who cover the same creator over and over and over again. This is why, because now those channels have all of the information archived where they can say, no, this has been going on. Did you see this video I did this a year ago? Did you see this behavior, you know, 5 years ago? We've traced it back. That's when it becomes important to a degree, when people do kind of stay dedicated to covering one content creator and calling out their problematic behavior.
Yeah. No, it needs to people need not to let up on this. They really don't. As long as she keeps going on, keep reporting it, keep reporting the platform she's trying to, because she has a lot of options for platforms, okay? She is running out of platforms, but there are still plenty of streaming platforms, and she's getting almost, she's like halfway in the barrel now. She hasn't gone bottom of the barrel yet. So it's just keep reporting those streams and keep reporting on her being live. You know, I'm probably going to end up doing a second Shanny video in a couple weeks, knowing her and how she is. I'm not letting up. I don't want anybody to let up.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to follow it as well. And I don't know if I just, anytime something important happens or is said, I think I'll probably pop on, whether it's on a live stream or in an actual video. For her, I ended up covering her in live stream format because so many people feel the way that we do, and they want to be heard, and they almost enjoy seeing creators that they care about and that they do enjoy trying to talk about this and bring different conversations about what they see, because we all have different perspectives. We're all in agreeing at the end of the day the major problem, but our perspectives and how we see things are all different because we're different people from different walks of life.
Yeah. It's maddening. It's angering. I just yeah. I'm not done with the story. I just, you know, because I do everything in live form. I can't make a video to save my freaking life. So, you know, I gotta come up with at least 2 hours worth of information. And that one little live she did the other day, that wasn't enough. So I'm just waiting. She'll end up going. She's probably gonna. Her next stop is probably going to be Twitch. She's going to get kicked off of Twitch immediately, and then she's probably going to go to DLive. And then after DLive, she's probably going to go to Trovo. I don't know if she can go to YouNow. I don't know if she can do YouNow. And then there's another place called Omni she could go to. There's still platforms she can go to. So
I think no matter what platform she goes to, she's going to clearly continue this behavior. I think any other platform she is going to struggle, though, because people know her here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, we know to look for her here. Other streaming services, not so much. Now, the people who have followed her and will continue to follow her on different platforms will definitely alert people, I think, when she tries to start somewhere else. Xylie's channel is pinned for those asking. She is very close to her 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do.
I mean, literally that far away. Like literally that far.
It's a hair away. The last thing I want to ask, because I'm just curious what your take is. How do you feel about some of these other channels allowing her to come on panel?
They're crazy.
I don't really agree with it because she's not going to tell them anything different. I can understand where they're maybe coming from to see if they can get some different information from her or get her maybe to admit to things. I can understand them doing it for that aspect. But at this point, haven't we seen over the past 10 years her behavior when she gets on their channel? Like, I don't understand why they are even... Personally, I don't understand why they even entertain the idea to allow her to speak at this point.
I think some of them had her up here, particularly the one where she showed her juicy bit. I think the reason why, I don't know how else to explain it, but I think the reason why he had her up there was to troll on her. That was the whole point of having her up there, was to troll on her. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And let's be for real. If you got her on your panel, how many views is that going to bring?
I mean, honestly, right now, probably quite a few because people are interested.
Exactly.
So are you saying they're doing it like twofold to troll her and to reap some benefit of their own?
I think the troll her, reap some benefits, and one of the guys that was actually on the panel with because it was RSN.
Yeah.
And one of the guys on the panel, right before she did what she did, she told the kids, leave the room. And he's like, oh, so now you're worried about what you're going to say in front of your kids. So apparently
yeah, I saw that.
He was giving her crap about how she was. So I don't know. I think it's a twofold situation. That's why I told her, you come up on mine, I'm not going to show you. It'll only be voice. And I'll be honest.
I'm going to cut you off. They're saying you're at 1K now.
No way. Let's see.
You are. I just checked.
No. Hold on.
Look at that.
Let me go look. Look, it says 1K.
That doesn't mean stop. People have to keep subscribing because sometimes.
Yeah, because we really can't celebrate until it's like 1020 because of the way YouTube is. Yep. Just saying. Because I was at 998, then I dropped down to 993. So we got to go a little bit past there, and then I can go, yay! Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yay! Okay, that's good. About time. Good God, I've only had the channel for a year.
I mean, you've worked hard. Well, you're getting there.
But I was also working a full-time job, and I also took like a couple of breaks. And my breaks take like 2 or 3 weeks.
All right.
That's awesome. Yay, thank you. Look at you. You got the exclusive, Amanda Pants. I hit 1K.
Hopefully they continue to subscribe. Well, that was the last question I had. Do you have any questions about me or my perception of any of it?
I'm going to be honest. Your last live stream, I thought it was really good because you gave it from the perception of your profession. I thought that was actually really informative because I didn't know some of those things. I was like, oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Listen, guys, if you hear about Shanny being live somewhere, go there and report that live. From what I heard, don't call CPS because CPS is working on it. It'll bog them down. Yeah, man, we just gotta not let her get away with her crap, basically.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just needs to be vigilant. There's plenty of people who restream her content, so don't feel like, I understand any channel she creates now isn't going to be monetized, but let's not give her the satisfaction of giving her the views at all. Just watch it on a restream channel where they can actually provide the commentary and relate it to previous behaviors where, especially if you're newer to the situation, you haven't gone down the rabbit hole, you can get caught up pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. People think just because the demonetization is taken away, you don't need YouTube to make money. You could throw up like your PayPal, your Cash App. I just don't know. I think you need a bank account for that, and I think that's the reason why she's not doing it. Because that's one thing I never noticed. Like, how are you making money at this point with your streams? Because you're not throwing a Cash App, you're not throwing a Venmo, and you're not throwing a stream. Well, she can't use Streamlabs because she's on her phone, but you're not doing any of that. So
I thought she was pushing a PayPal, but maybe
was
I'm wrong.
Pushing a PayPal?
I don't know. I thought she was, but I could be totally wrong on that.
Yeah, she could be then, because she is. I mean, there's other way. Oh God, is that Skip?
Yeah.
She said, "Congrats, Heifer." I am so mad she called me a damn. How are you gonna call me out in front of all these people? We are in company's house right now, ma'am. Do not be calling me out in front of company. Are you serious? Miss Skip. Her mean self. But yeah, no, I mean, we can't let up on her. And
Rev has a Cash App.
Okay, Cash App. Okay, boom. There you go. Then that's how they're doing it. But yeah, watch the restreams of it. Don't give her a review.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I've been able to go down the rabbit hole. Was I've watched, and it seems to be that some of those channels don't get along, but I've watched all of them to get all of their different perspectives, and they all have like the same information. They just have their own perspective and how they go about their own content.
Yeah. I've noticed the anti-Shanny community has infighting too, and I'm like, oh my God, can you people listen? You're fighting against one bad guy, okay? I need the troops to get together and just say, okay, let's just fight against the bad guy. Stop fighting among yourselves.
Oh I think God. It's a small channel thing, is what I'm realizing. I know larger creators have their disagreements and their issues, but it seems that those are typically held behind the scenes, whereas these smaller creators just air it all out on their live streams and get people involved. That's kind of what I've been noticing from all different aspects of small channel communities.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've seen it before. It's just, I just think it's funny when it happens. It's like, dude, come on now. Come on, chill out.
Right?
Chill out and just worry about your own stuff, Look, Sue's like, come on, Xylee, I want to fight with you.
Yeah.
All right, Sue.
I've heard of Von Helton. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. I also was told of Trishalicious recently. So those are some content creators that I'm going to start looking into and maybe make my own content about. But a forewarning, since we're wrapping this up, I am going to have very sparse content out for the rest of this week and next week, because I will be I'll be on vacation until Sunday, and then my mom will be here at my house. So it will be sparse, but I'll try to get some content out for you guys.
Have fun on vacation.
I know, I'm super excited.
Look, Britt and company finally followed me in here, and it only took her the whole live to get in here. Thanks, Britt, for following me. No, I always end up in the same chats with Just Britt. It's hilarious. Everywhere I go, she's there. It's amazing.
I feel that way with a couple. Like I feel like people who are subscribed to you are likely to follow you, because you typically, other chats you're going to be in are people who cover similar content or have similar views.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I love Just Britt, though. She's awesome. All right. Is that it? I
think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So
at least I didn't throw something or like really go into a tirade of cussing. I tried to be really good on your channel.
Oh, I don't really mind. I appreciate everybody who's been here. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to me, subscribe to Xylee. It's pinned, and give the stream a like. Otherwise, I will see you guys later.
Bye. Don't make me hold